The Constitutional Court has agreed to hear former President Jacob Zuma's application to have his 15-month jail sentence rescinded. Zuma was sentenced for contempt by the Apex Court after he ignored directives that he continues testifying at the State Capture Commission. The ConCourt will hear his application on Monday, the 12th of July. Mr. Zuma is expected to address his supporters this evening. Let's bring in the better minds. Ayanda Mhlongo, Simphiwe Makhanya, Samkele Maseko, live for us in Nkandla on the story. Ayanda, to you first. What are you witnessing there this morning?
Very good morning to you, Plain, and good morning to our viewers at home. It's day 5 here in Nkandla that we have camped outside the home of former President Jacob Zuma, and we expect that of all the days, this is going to be the busiest day in terms of the numbers of people that we are expecting here. For the first time, we've seen large crowds stay throughout the night, and it's already a buzz of activity here outside the home of the former president. Of course, had it not been for his 2 applications that he's filed with the Pietermaritzburg High Court seeking a stay of his arrest and the application filed in the Constitutional Court, we would now be counting the hours that the former president would have to be preparing to hand himself over to the authorities, to the Westville prison in Durban. Of course, today, in anticipation, we will be eagerly awaiting for 6 p.m. this evening when the former president is going to be speaking to his supporters for the very first time since the Constitutional Court decision. Lots to talk about today. It's going to be, as I said, a very, very busy day. I'm with my colleagues, Samkele Maseko and Simphiwe Makhanya, and we have our viewers covered. Let me bring in now my colleague, Samkele Maseko, and let's just recap for our viewers who may not have seen the events that unfolded late last night. Interesting, the leaders of the ANC, a very, very important day it was yesterday, Sam, with the ANC leaders in KwaZulu-Natal meeting with the former president. Of course, very interestingly was the arrival of the suspended Secretary General Ace Magashule last night. You asked him a very important question. We know that the ANC's top leadership have deployed quite a large number of its members of the National Executive Committee to the province of KwaZulu-Natal. You asked him his presence here, why is he here, but more importantly, where were the members of the NEC? As well as the comments that came out, the comments from Sihle Zikalala Nomtumseni Ntuli as they were leaving after the meeting. Just take us through, Sam. What did you make of the leaders and their comments?
Essentially, what Sihle Zikalala Nomtumseni Ntuli, the provincial leaders, and Mhlongo, the regional chair of this region, as you can also see with the background of the Mzala Ngumalo region, members of the ANC from the areas of Vryheid, formerly known as Abaqulusi, they are here to show their solidarity and support to the former president. It was rather interesting to see the presence of the suspended Secretary General of the ANC, Ace Magashule. Not so surprising in a way, because they are very close with the former president, and they are particularly in one particular faction within the governing party. But it was rather interesting that the NEC deployees of the ANC ended up not descending down to Nkandla. They were told by the provincial leadership of the ANC in the province to stay back, to hold back, whilst they go and negotiate with the former president to try and find an amicable solution. But it later came out that the Constitutional Court had decided to hear the application of rescission by the former president. Now the conundrum becomes, does the former president this evening prepare to go to Westville Correctional Services Center, or he doesn't? Legal opinion makers are divided on this topic. Some are saying he no longer has to go. Some, like Lawson Naidu of Kesek, are saying he has to go. But the politicians are saying since he's applied and taken a further legal step, he does not have to go. Mtumisani Ntuli, the provincial secretary, said they will now have to go back after yesterday's meeting, at some point convene a special PEC meeting to brief the provincial executive committee meeting of the provincial executive committee of the ANC in the province on their deliberations with the former president, and also go back and report to the ANC's top brass leaders on the particular matters which were ventilated by the former president. The former president left that meeting with the ANC officials in the province and went to address Amabutu in his crawl, then came out flanked by them with his shield. Well, some people say that he was signaling that he's not prepared to go down without a fight.
They're trying to deal with what was happening inside, that all-important meeting that you're talking about. The focus is also on the outside. These two gentlemen, Sihle Zikalala, Mdumiseni Ntuli, have a heavy load, uniting these members of the ANC. From the comments that we heard while they were trying to speak to members of the media, some saying, "Ningatayisi nina, do not sell out." Do we see this as the supporters that are out here are saying that we no longer trust you as our leaders in the ANC, in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, nationally, and we now are distancing ourselves? The divisions within the ANC in this province, in the country, seem to be growing wider.
The divisions they're not narrowing down. They're just escalating. They are further deepened divisions, particularly going towards that 2018 University of Zululand Ongoye provincial conference, which was stopped by the High Court in Pietermaritzburg, then subsequently the one that took place later on at the Durban University of Technology. And you look at how politics have shifted in the province since the 2015 provincial conference held in Pietermaritzburg. So it basically tells you that those divisions are widening, and Sihle Zikalala himself, as the provincial chair, is no longer trusted by the Zuma faction in the province. You know the tensions that exist between him and one strong person of the Zuma faction in the province. That would be Mamzandile Kumete in the eThekwini region, who somewhat feels sold out by certain leaders of the ANC in the province as well, just like the former president feels sold out and abandoned by the national leadership of the ANC. So Sihle Zikalala and Mdumiseni Ntuli, the provincial secretary, have a mere impossible task of uniting the ANC in the province, just like former President Mbeki of the ANC says the NEC has failed in executing the mandate of the Nasrec conference of uniting the organization that they are leading.
Another very, very important point, and we can't ignore COVID-19. The numbers are getting higher. It's a worrying situation in the country. Over 20,000 new infections in the last 24-hour cycle. The scenes that we have been seeing here, basically people in total disregard. I then take it to the leader, Samkele. One of the questions that you asked the Secretary General, suspended Secretary General of the ANC, how did he get out of Gauteng to be here? We also know the spokesperson of the MKMVA, Carl Niehaus, he's also based in Johannesburg. There were several other leaders that were also here, also based in Johannesburg. The fact that they left Johannesburg to come to KwaZulu-Natal, breaking the lockdown regulations, what message are they saying? I see it impossible that the people on the ground are going to adhere to the regulations if the leaders are not. You are saying that this could possibly mean repercussions by the ANC. Well, what can we make out of this? What message are these leaders telling to the people that have gathered out here?
The mere fact that Mdumiseni Ntuli, the provincial secretary, the premier of the province in his capacity as the provincial chairperson of the ANC, Sihle Zikalala, the mayor of Umhlathuze, the regional chairperson of this region, Mhlongo, who addressed the media outside the home of the former president, never told the ANC members to stop gathering in large numbers here outside the home of the former president, tells you that they themselves are guilty of having large gatherings here and not condemning large gatherings of ANC members and supporters converging outside the home of the former president. I'm not sure if our colleagues can just show you those vigils. There are gentlemen there, 3 gentlemen. They are not wearing masks. One with a BLF t-shirt, one with a blue jacket. A mask is not worn. There's an ANC one right at the back. He's not wearing a mask. There's another one, Jihab, just in front of the former president's home. He's also not wearing a mask. You look at the disbanded MKMVA, some call them the toy soldiers. They are also not wearing masks. All of them, a large number of them who are even protecting the home of the former president are not wearing masks. They're not adhering to COVID-19 lockdown regulations as the Delta variant sweeps across the country.
Just speaking about that, Sam, the president himself, former President Jacob Zuma, coming out, as you were saying, flanked by Amabuto, he too was not wearing a mask.
I heard a comment from someone who's very close to the leadership of Amabuto and to the royal family yesterday, who said it's as if the former president was committing suicide yesterday. by going with Amabutu. They were singing, there's saliva coming out as people are singing, and he's not wearing a mask. And that sends a wrong message to South Africans. And it says that it portrays a picture as if people converging here in Nkandla are immune to COVID-19. And many are saying that when he addresses the media this afternoon, he must speak and plead with his supporters to adhere to COVID-19 regulations, as there is this Delta variant that is sweeping across the country. Just yesterday, there were 175 deaths of this particular pandemic in the country.
Right, certainly some lots still to talk about. We know that today Makhanya did confirm to you that indeed he is coming back today. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not there are any other leaders of the ANC, possibly members of the National Executive Committee, who might also come out here to meet with the former president. Of course, we are awaiting that very, very important at 6 o'clock when he speaks to his supporters. Sam was also speaking about Amabutu that had come out yesterday to show their support for the former president. And just quickly, there was a statement that was issued by the royal household through the traditional prime minister of the Amazulu nation, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, distancing himself from Amabutu, who had come out here to show their support for the former president. Speaking about the support for the former president, what is happening on the ground, I did say earlier, there are a lot of people that have camped out here. They spent the whole night outside the home of the former president. And just to see, give our viewers a sense of what was happening overnight, let's now cross to my colleague Simphiwe Makhanya.
Thank you very much to my colleagues there, Ayanda Mhlongo and Samkele Maseko. Well, already, as you may have seen in your visuals, a hive of activity outside the home of the former president. I'm going to ask my colleague Ndabezinhle Khumalo to just give you a picture of the road, which is just next to the main gate of the former president's house. Already you can see a lot of vehicles parked along this road. ANC regalia is also on display, with supporters chanting and singing slogans in support of the former President Jacob Zuma. And as I have said, that a lot of people who are here, spent the night here. And I'm going to speak one of those now who needs no introduction, Mr. Ngizwe Mchunu. I see you are dressed in your traditional regalia. Why are you deciding to come here to show support to the former president?
I'm here because I'm originally from Nkandla as well. I'm here to support the President Zuma as a result of he has been abused too much for a very long time in this country. Since 2005, Mr. Zuma has been abused by his own people, by his own colleagues that they fought for this freedom. So now we are tired of people who abuse the constitution and the law of this country. Law is the people. If law is not the people, they must go and read it to animals and go to the zoo and read all those ruling to the animals. So therefore we are here to prove that there is no law without people. We are here to prove that our father have fought for the freedom. Is now for us to fight for economical freedom instead of focusing to the a virus that is affecting our people. Then our leaders are taking a very stupid decision by arresting the old men that they know exactly that here, especially here in KZN, you can never play with the leader, with anyone here, and expect us to be quiet. We are fearless. We don't fear to die. We don't fear to die, because if we die now, our kids will rise again and fight for what we have been standing for. So therefore, we are saying to the whole nation that you can see how many thousands and thousands of people that are gathering here today to respect the men who have fought for our freedom.
Mr. Zuma was sentenced to 15 months in prison for breaking the constitution of this country, for breaking the law and disregarding the instruction of the Constitutional Court. Why are you saying he's being abused?
He's being abused, my brother, as a result of that. There is no single case Mr. Zuma never attended. He attended the very popular case, stupid case that is called I'm Still case. He's still attending even today. He respects the constitution of this country. He attended the Zondo Commission twice, and then he raised them in his concerns that he's unhappy about the relationship that they had with the Judge Zondo. So Judge Zondo decided to raise the being arrogant and try to be superior above the law. So now that's why Mr. Zondo was supposed to move aside and allow the proceedings so that we can indicate that this country is not about the Mr. Zondo. If the Mr. Zondo can die today, it means the constitution, the commission will stop. It will continue. Therefore, why didn't move aside and allow the something so important about the state capture to be continued? So I think they have abused the power. They forget that they are representing the people. That's why we are saying we are not stupid. If you are the leader, you must know that when you are standing in front of people that you are leading are not fools. We are not cows. Njoba ngimlapha nje mina amandla ami ngiyawazi angiyona inkomo mina edonsa umfana omncane ngumchila ingakho ke sithi ke cha ke kulungile isilo siyafinyeza amazipho.
Macingwane, olunye udaba olukhathazayo ukubonakala kokuthi kufike abantu abayinkumbi la ngaphandle komuzi omnumzana uJacob Zuma sisabhekene nesimo se-COVID-19. Inombolo zabantu abatheleleka ngalesifo ziyanyuka. Ngiyabona nawe ukuthi imask awuyigqokile. Uthini ngalokho?
I'm saying because coincidentally, it is not a coincidence that Mr. President can shut down the country for 2 weeks and then say we are on stage 4. Therefore, they are announcing to arrest and then they are launching the war, because this is the war that they are launching. In the battlefield, you can never hesitate. You can never think of anything else, because now what are we living for? If we can never die twice, we better die once than live to be dead alive. Never.
Ngokubona kwakho nangokusho kwakho Macingwane nisazoqhubeka niqhinqela ngaphandle komuzi kamnumzana uJacob Zuma nizomtshengisa kuMaseko.
Definitely we are here, and everybody that out there, some people that are locked down in Gauteng, they are supporting it. Please, Mr. President of this country, they must know that our people are very angry and are not stupid. Please lead us well. Our leaders lead us well, because we respect you, but we are not cowards. They must know, and then we are going to be here until all the matter for Mr. President Zuma about this stupid arrest announcement that never been charged, and then you are just being announced to be arrested. No, that is so stupid. So therefore, we want the truth in this country. Therefore, if you can remember that on June 16, 1976, our forefathers, our heroes died there fighting for the educational rights. Therefore, guess what? Nobody was arrested. Some people who were abused during the 1976 massacre in Gauteng, they are still alive. They're still suffering with their families. They are still lost their fathers. People who abuse us, they are still alive. Nobody was arrested. Nobody launched the constitution. We only earn one thing, a holiday. Our life, for our father's life, deserve a holiday in this country. June 16, there is no arrest. There is only one man who was arrested in this country. Someone who I'm told that we killed Kirsani. Only one white man who was arrested in this country. How about the thousands of people that died for our freedom and no one was arrested? Look at Mr. Telebranch, who undermine the constitution of this country repeatedly and non-negotiable, raising the flag of the apartheid. No one arrested him. No one told anybody that this man is against the constitution of this country. And therefore, until he died, he lived in his own yard.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that's Mr. Nkandla, a very emotional supporter here of former President Jacob Zuma, basically saying that he feels that the former president is being treated unfairly and he's being abused by the constitution of this country, urging leaders of this country as well, to be careful when it comes to, leading the people, saying that people are really not fools. Blaine, it's over to you in Johannesburg for now.
Simphiwe, before I let you go, any reaction from the police ministry in terms of what they are witnessing there in Nkandla over the past couple of days?
Well, Blaine, as you have been, paying attention to this story developing over the past few days, we've seen a number of people making their way here. But unfortunately, not a lot of police visibility has been seen. But police have been, trying to manage the situation, and also bearing in mind, Blaine, that the situation here is very tense. So if I suppose the police don't really want to, send a number of police to come here and, actually maybe create a situation where there could be, violence between those supporters of former President Jacob Zuma who have been camping outside his home and the police plane.
Simphiwe Makhanya, Ayanda Mhlongo, Samkele Maseko, stand by. We'll come back to you shortly.